Good morning, children. Today we'll discuss the second chapter, that is microorganism, friends and foe. Now, microorganisms are the very small organisms which we cannot see by our naked eyes. So we use certain lenses and the microscopes. Micro means very small organisms are living things. Now let's discuss about the history. The Robert Hooke discovered the first cell in 1665, and this led to the discovery of the small organisms which are found all around us. Then one of the scientists called Anton von Leeuwenhoek, he invented the light microscope. That is a microscope which works on the light, and it helped to see the small microorganisms with this microscope. And with the help of the microscope, Robert Koch observed the first bacterium in the 1872, and later Alexander Fleming discovered the Penicillium notatum, which is a fungus and which helps to produce the antibiotic. Now we classify the microorganism into four main groups: algae, fungi, bacteria and protozoa. We'll discuss these groups in the next slides. Viruses are also a kind of the microorganism, but they are not living. When they enter into the living host, then only they reproduce, and it is the only reproduction of the characteristics of the living things that is shown by the viruses. Viruses do not move, they do not respire, they do not eat the food, so they perform only reproduction when they enter into any organism. Habitat is the place where an organism is found. So microorganisms are found in everywhere, that is in air, in water, in the soil, in the food, and inside the living body, like plants, animals, including the human beings. The first group is algae. Is a plural word. The singular is alga, and algae may be a single-celled organism or a filamentous thread-like structures. They contain a chlorophyll. You must be knowing that the chlorophyll is necessary for the photosynthesis, and they perform the photosynthesis, therefore they are called the autotrophs. Algae are found in the pond, lake, river, oceans. Algae are useful for us in many ways, which we'll discuss later on. The examples of the algae are Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Spirogara, Ulothrix. These are some of the algae. Like one is Spirogara, which is a thread-like structure, and there are the cells. Various cells are joined together to form a thread-like structures. This one single cell Ochromonas is a single cell microalgae, and other filamentous are the Codium, Microcystis, etc. The next group is fungi or fungi. The singular word is fungus. They are non-green, that is, they do not have the chlorophyll, so they cannot produce their own food, and hence they are autotrophs. As an autotroph, they may be saprotrophs or parasites. Saprotrophs, they grow on the dead organic matter, and as a parasite, they can grow on the mainly plants. Some of the fungi, they cause the disease in the plants. The examples of the fungi are yeast, Saccharomyces, mushroom, Rhizopus, Penicillium, Aspergillus. One of the example of the fungi is the bread mold or the rhizopus. It grows on the surface of the moist bread. If you keep the bread in dark moist bread, after a few days you will find a green cover on this bread, and this is the bread mold or the rhizopus. The next group is bacteria. Bacteria, also known green microscopic heterotrophs. Since they do not have the chlorophyll, so they do not produce their own food, so they grow as separate troughs, that is in organic matter, or as a parasite in the plants and animals, including the human beings. These parasitic bacteria, they cause in the plant diseases, many diseases in plants and as well as in animals like human beings also. Some of the examples of the bacteria are Lactobacillus, Pseudomonas, Rhizopus, Nitrobacter, Nitrosomonas. This is a structure of the Bacillus bacterium. Bacillus, that is the rod-shaped bacterium. It has the outermost cover of the cell wall. Inside the cell wall is outermost is a capsule followed by the cell wall, and innermost is the cell membrane. Cell membrane bounds the cytoplasm where the nuclear material is present. There is a flagellum thread-like structure present which help to move the bacteria. The fourth group is protozoa. Protozoa, the heterotrophic microorganisms, and they do not have the cell wall. Like the cell wall is present in the bacteria, cell wall is present in the fungi, in algae, but not in the protozoa. Protozoa are found free in water as well as a parasite in the living beings. Protozoa may cause the diseases when they live inside the living beings. They cause the diseases. Protozoa has flagella like we have seen in the case of the bacillus, and it helps in its motion. They reproduce by binary fission, like amoeba reproduces by binary fission and multiple fission. Plasmodium reproduces by multiple fission. Here are some photographs of the different protozoa. This is Trypanosoma. It causes sleeping sickness disease, amoeba, proteus, and many other microorganisms. Protozoa. This is the structure of the paramecium. Actual photograph of the paramecium. It is a slipper shaped paramecium. जैसे चप्पल होता है, and outside this outer surface is the cilia. Thread-like structures are present which help it to move in the water. This is amoeba. Amoeba can change its shape. It produces a false foot called the pseudopodia, by which it can move and it can grasp its food. Here in the center is the nucleus of the amoeba. The last group is viruses. Viruses are microscopic. They are not even we cannot see the viruses with the help of the light microscope. We need electron microscope to see the viruses. They are very small. When they are outside the living body, they act as non-living substance. But as soon as they will enter the living body, they start reproducing. They produce their own kind. That is, the reproduction is performed by the viruses inside the bacterium, plant or animal cell, including the human being. Viruses can produce the various diseases in plants and animals. Nowadays we are facing the one disease, COVID-19, produced by the coronavirus. the coronavirus has produced this disease. Other other viruses are influenza virus, polio virus, smallpox virus, etc. This is how the virus infects the cell. Either it may be plant cell, animal cell, or a bacterial cell. The virus enter the cell. When it enters the cell, its outermost cover is removed, and that is called the coat or protein. It is removed and its DNA is released in the cell. This DNA is incorporated in the host DNA, and using the cellular mechanism, the virus produces its own kind. That is, it starts reproducing. When it reproduces, the cell get damaged. When cell get damaged, we say it is a disease. Similarly, here nowadays, what we are suffering from the COVID-19, the virus enters our respiratory system, enters into the cell of the respiratory system, including the lungs. Then it starts damaging the lung cells, and it causes the disease COVID-19.